Okay, so as you saw in the beginning, I am gonna watch this creepypasta video. This video is very old. Very, 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 very old. 3 years old. 2019. Yeah, 2018. Or 2020. Oh no, it can't be 2020. Or 2018. But, you get my point. This is a very old video. Not as old as, like, other videos, but old enough to be past 3 years old. Probably. It's at least 3 years old. So yeah. I'm gonna be reacting to this creepypasta video about ones that actually did come true. As you can see. Yeah, you see. So, yeah. You got my point. And let's get started. Also, check out the channel in the description. Most amazing top 10, I think. Yeah. Right here. It's a great channel. In the past, they made some creepypasta videos and some other creepy videos. Nowadays, no. They still make creepy videos. It's just that I don't think they're like creepy enough to scare the shit out of me. So, and check out this video. If you want to watch it for yourself without me talking, that's the point. It's going to be my genuine reaction, and yeah. Now, since I don't want to hold you off and I actually want to watch this, let's get started.
Hello guys, this might look like an average creepypasta video. I know we do a lot of them on this channel, and usually you guys might take comfort in the fact that they're just stories. No matter how much we get into them, they're just stories. They can't hurt us.
As I said before, creepypasta video, talking about creepypastas that are based off of true stuff. So, I'm gonna scare you guys with this, and scare myself with it. Hopefully I haven't watched it because I've watched creepypastas over the years. So now let's actually continue. I'm not gonna pause. Don't worry. There's not gonna be any pausing much, most likely. I'm not. It's not set up. This is going off the spot. So yeah.
Right? Well, generally speaking, no. Stories are stories, but some of these stories are definitely inspired by true events that happen throughout history. Today we're going to talk about some of the worst, and they have all the blood, guts, and death that you might expect. And some of them are very, very close to the truth. They might even be true stories now that I think about it. See what you think. My name is Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 scary creepypastas based on true stories. Also, if you do want to see some of our normal creepypasta videos, there should be one floating right up there. You will end up going down a hole of creepypasta videos, so you have been warned. Starting off at number 10 now, we have the Alice killings. I'm sure many of you creepypasta fans will have heard of this one. Story goes that for 6 years, from 1999 to 2005, 5 killings took place in Japan. Not just random killings either. Strange, unsolved, and very connected killings. At each murder scene, a calling card was left by the killer. The calling card was quite literally a card. It was a playing card. The cards always vary, but one thing remained the same. The name Alice was written on each one, in blood. Each of the murders were as gruesome and as strange as the next, and despite multiple arrests, the real killer was never caught. That's how the story goes though, although there is not much evidence for it being anything other than a creepypasta. There is, however, a real story that is eerily similar. Alfredo Galan Sotillo was a Spanish serial killer who killed 6 people in 2003. When attempting his third murder, his victim survived and another was able to escape. Sotillo left a 3 of Cups card at the scene. Now when the media picked up on this, he began to leave playing cards at the murder scenes of his next victims until he eventually surrendered to police. He was sentenced to 142 years and 3 months in prison. Next up at number 9 now, we have the Russian sleep experiment. This very famous creepypasta tells a story of 5 test subjects who were given a sleep inhibiting stimulant in a Soviet experiment. Day by day, with no sleep at all, they began to descend into madness. They eventually sealed themselves inside their chamber and covered the windows with feces and torn book pages so the scientists couldn't watch them. The story continues and contains mutilation, blood, violence, and murder. in that order, actually. It's not for the faint-hearted, but did it actually happen? Well, not as far as we can tell. Many people do think the creepypasta was inspired, though, by real experiments conducted by governments. The British military testing LSD on its soldiers, Americans testing mustard gas on their own soldiers, and Japan's Unit 731, which tortured an estimated 12,000 prisoners of war during World War II. Perhaps one of the unknown experiments involves stopping people from sleeping. Moving on to number 8 now, we have the Capgrass Delusion. That's the name of this creepypasta that appeared online in January 2017. It told the tale of a woman called Harriet who had an aneurysm that severely damaged her brain. After that, she began to believe that one by one, everyone in her life had been replaced by an imposter. At first, she began to believe her younger brother had been replaced, then her own son. She told her husband that he was an imposter. When she died in surgery, her husband then took on this delusion as well and eventually attacked their son with a knife. Well, if that sounds like a terrifying story, it's based on a real condition. Capgrass delusion is a genuine psychiatric disorder in which a person holds a delusion that a friend, spouse, parents, or other close family member has been replaced by an identical imposter. It's a scary condition that can leave a person becoming extremely paranoid and isolated. Perhaps the most scary part, though, is how poorly understood the condition is. There isn't even a definitive way to diagnose it. There is very little research on how to treat it, and of course no known cure at the time of recording this video. Next up at number 7 now, we have Abandoned by Disney. This is an infamous creepypasta put forward by Reddit user Slimebeast. Now, he claimed that many years ago Disney built a $30 million park named Mowgli's Palace. It was supposed to recreate many locations from The Jungle Book, a lush, tropical paradise filled with exotic flora and fauna. Just before the park opened, though, everything was mysteriously shut down. He went to go and investigate the abandoned site. He reported discovering terrifying Disney character costumes that came to life in the most scary way imaginable. The details are too gruesome to go into here. While the story has been dismissed as a hoax or a creepypasta, there may be some inspiration taken from real life. Disney does have a number of abandoned parks, most famously Treasure Island, which was closed in 1999. It has been visited by a number of urban explorers who have taken a lot of creepy pictures, but none of some animated scary suits yet. Moving on to number 6 now, we have Polybius. In 1981, a story started in Portland and slowly crept across America, then the world, and then entered internet legend forever. Most of us are probably too young to remember arcade halls with rows of arcade games being played by crowds of kids. Before the rise of home consoles, though, these were the places to be. In Portland, the kids started talking about one particular arcade game, Polybius. Rumor had it that Polybius was insanely addictive. When other kids were finally forced off it by the next in line, they reported feeling nauseous and stressed. Some even had seizures. People started noticing that the game was being serviced a lot more than the others. Once a month, men in black suits would come and copy the machine's hard drive but leave all of the money. This led people to believe that Polybius was part of an experimental CIA mind control program. Some people still believe this to be true, but others see it as just an interesting creepypasta. Now, if that's the case, it may be based on some real stories. In 1981, in Portland, a kid really did get sick during an arcade marathon. A few days later, federal agents really did seize a bunch of arcade cabinets as part of a gambling bust. Or they were CIA, whatever you want to believe. Coming out number 5 now, we have Robert the Doll. I'm sure you guys have all read creepypastas about dolls that come to life and kill their owners. They're extremely popular. There isn't even one that I can particularly single out, though. What I can say is that a lot of them are probably based on the true story of Robert the Doll. He's a very real doll that was owned by Robert Otto in Florida in 1904. The doll was named after Robert. Now, according to legend, the doll had supernatural abilities that allowed it to move, change its facial expressions, and even make giggling sounds. People said it was a voodoo figurine that was totally aware of its own surroundings. Over the years, this doll was passed on to other people, and it's said to have caused everything from car accidents to broken bones, job losses, divorces, and all kinds of misfortune, really. You can actually go and see Robert in real life in the East Martello Museum in Florida, if you dare. I don't. Next up, number 4 now, we have The Well to Hell. For a while now, a creepypasta has been going around about the well to hell, a hole that was drilled so deep it reached hell itself. That's not even the scary part, though. According to the story, the scientists who drilled this hole also recorded a terrifying sound emitting from the bottom, the sound of all the souls in hell screaming out in horror. Here's a little clip for you guys. You have been warned.
It's scary. Dang. I gotta suffer. Okay.
Now they say that the hole was drilled in 1989 in Siberia, and that after the scientists heard that sound, they fled and never returned again. The inspiration for this creepypasta may have come from real holes that were bored. One such example is the Kola Super Deep Borehole. It's in Russia, it was drilled as a scientific experiment, and it's the deepest artificial hole ever drilled, reaching the depth of 12,262 meters, or about 40,230 feet. And just to put that in perspective, most airlines fly about 35,000 feet. This hole is deeper than the height at which planes fly. Think about that for a second. That site was abandoned in 1995 with the dissolution of the Soviet Union, although I've seen no evidence of screaming souls from hell yet, again. Moving on to number 3 now, we have the Slender Man stabbings. In May 2014, the small town of Waukesha, Wisconsin was shaken by the stabbing of a 12-year-old girl there. The brutal attack was said to be inspired by the popular Slender Man creepypasta. 12-year-olds Anissa Weir and Morgan Gieser have become obsessed with Slender Man ever since discovering him on the Creepypasta wiki. They began to believe that Slender Man was real and that he wanted them to prove their loyalty to him. By doing this, they could become his proxies and do his bidding. They could also prove his existence and prevent their own families from being harmed by him. This delusion led them to believe that they needed to kill someone to show their loyalty. Their intended victim was Peyton Leutner. They lured their classmate out into the woods and stabbed her 19 times, leaving her for dead. Now amazingly, Leutner managed to drag herself to a nearby road where she was found by a cyclist. She recovered after 6 days in hospital. The attackers were sentenced to very long periods in mental health institutions. Moving on to number 2 now, we have Lavender Town Syndrome. I'm sure many of you guys have heard me talking about this one before in another video. There have been a number of creepypastas going around over the years about Lavender Town Syndrome. Now this one is written in the style of a news report claiming that a number of children in Japan killed themselves after hearing the Lavender Town music on the original Pokemon Game Boy games. Apparently the music for Lavender Town had extremely high frequencies that only children could hear. Some of the children just got headaches and began to feel a bit sick. Others were more seriously affected and ended up jumping from great heights. Now this is obviously just a creepypasta, unless there has been a huge cover-up. There is no real evidence of kids throwing themselves off heights in Japan because of a Pokemon game. What there is though is a story of the original Pokemon anime that may have inspired this story. When the first episode of that aired, 685 children were hospitalized after a scene with flashing lights triggered epileptic seizures in them. Couple this with the high suicide rates in Japan at the time, and it's no surprise that a creepypasta like this was born. And finally, number 1 now, we have the Green Man. For many years, the people of Brighton Township would swap stories about the Green Man. They said he was a reclusive figure of the night. They said that when he was a boy, he wanted to see into a bird's nest. He climbed on an electric pole but slipped on his way down and electrocuted himself. The shock should have killed him, but the boy survived, although he lost his eyes, nose, mouth, an ear, and an arm. When he grew up, the disfigured man lived in an abandoned house away from the taunting kids. He became a sort of boogeyman story, but not everyone knows that this is all based on a true story. The real man was Raymond Robinson. He did electrocute himself as a boy and was something of a recluse. What's not true, however, is all the stories of him scaring kids or spooking them. By all accounts, Raymond was a pleasant man who lived with his family and enjoyed long walks through Brighton Township. Alright guys, so those were some of your favourite creepypastas that were actually based on real things, real events, and real people. Shall we keep going with that? Shall we do more stuff about horror movies based on real events? Or maybe not even horror movies, maybe just any TV shows, movies at all.
I know for sure that Annabelle and Chucky are actually based off of actual real life stuff. Search it up. It's a fact. Search up real life Annabelle inspiration, real life Chucky inspiration, and then you'll actually find out stories, articles about them actually being inspired by real things that are like outward them haunting. I put that in air quotes. Haunting them. Like creepy stuff. They hear stuff. And yeah. Nope.
Comic books that are actually based on real things that happen. I think you guys might like that as a sort of potential series for the future. What do I know though? You let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. As always guys, my name is Dan.
Hey, I'm not gonna check if that's a fact. That you made the series.
And I will see you all in the next one.
Finished. We're done. Oh. Damn, that was scary. I mean, the Green Man one. The only thing that scared me is the face. I mean, the thing. The actual show itself is not that. Slenderman, sometimes I'm okay with him. It's like in games, but if it's like a real life picture or seems more lifelike than in game, and I'm creeped out. Yes, I'm admitting that. I'm half a scaredy cat. Half I can handle fear sometimes, I cannot other times. The doll thing, I think I heard before. But I'm so creeped out because, it's a doll. I ain't like dolls. I mean, like those more stuffed animal like dolls, they're okay with. But, those, like, baby dolls, probably, it was, like, I don't know what's made of. Those dolls, those baby dolls that look sort of lifelike? It creeps out of me. I would like to shoot them with a shotgun. But I don't have a permit to own guns. I don't own guns. So, yeah. In 2, either way, I'll be running. And then I'll shoot them on the way back. If they ever come. So, yeah. And, yeah. Yep, that's it. Okay. Damn, this video is scary. I don't mean the video of me reacting to it. I just mean the video I was watching myself. If you hear any noises, it's because there's someone in this house that I'm being more general, so I won't give away much info about me because I don't want to at this current state. But it's someone who lives with me. Don't worry. It's not like a serial killer or like a robber or something. So, yeah. Okay? And that's basically it. So, I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also the notification bell so you can get notified today. Also, I was planning to do a 2-parter, or this is the first part, and the second part is a different Halloween thing, but I couldn't figure out a way to read what I was gonna read, which is gonna be like ghost stories or something like that, while I record, and it's not gonna be recording on my screen. I'm gonna physically record using the camera on the phone itself at the house, recording like the house. But I couldn't figure out how to do both at once. So that video is gonna come out next year, most likely. So yeah, that's all.